So here we're going to divide 2765 by 9. So the divisor is 9 and the dividend is 2765. What you divide by always sits outside. So we're going to go digit by digit, starting with 2. How many times does 9 go into 2? 9 times 1 is 9, so 9 is the smallest, so this would be 0. So 9 does not go into 2 because 2 is less than 9. So 9 times 0 is 0. Subtract, bring the next digit down. As soon as you bring the next digit down, ask yourself, how many times does 9 go into 27? 9 times 3, notice the times table here, 9 times table is 27. When we subtract, we get a 0. Bring the next digit down. As soon as you bring the next digit down, ask yourself, how many times does 9 go into 6? 6 is too small for 9, so 9 goes 0 times into 6. Subtract, get a 6, bring the next digit down. How many times does 9 go into 65? What is the maximum number of times does that 9 goes into 65? 9 times 7 is 63. And in whole number division, we'll stop with 5 because 5 is the last digit, and the remainder, final remainder, is 2. So 2765 divided by 9 is equal to, so 9 goes 307 times into 2765, leaving a remainder of 2. So if we subtract 2 from 2765, so that's 2763 divided by 9 would be exactly 307. And if you add a 2, you get 2765. Now let's do another one. We're going to divide 64,329 by 8. So let's look at the first digit. 8 goes 0 times into 6. 6 is smaller than 8. 8 times 0 is 0. Subtract to get a 6. Bring the next digit down. Sorry, that's 4. How many times does 8 go into 64? 8 times 8 is 64. Subtract to get a 0. Bring the next digit down. How many times does 8 go into 3? The answer is 0. Put the 0 there. Subtract. 8 times 0 is 0 to get a 3. Bring the next digit down. And then again ask yourself, how many times does 8 go into 32? 8 times 4 is exactly 32. We subtract to get a 0. Bring the next digit down. That's our last digit that we can bring down. How many times does 8 go into 9? 8 goes once into 9. That's the maximum number of times it can go, leaving a remainder of 1. So 64,329 divided by 8 is equal to 8,041 with a remainder of, the final remainder is 1. Which means if you subtract 1 from 64,329, you get 64,328, and 8 goes exactly 8,041 times into 64,328. Now 57 is the divisor and 2,569 is the dividend. So let's see. 57 is pretty close to So 57 is pretty close to 60. And why do we care? Because the 60 times table is much easier to work with. 60 times 1, 60, because 6 times 1 is 6. 60 times 2 is 120, because 6 times 2 is 12. 60 times 3 is 180, because 6 times 3 is 18. 60 times 4 is 240. 6 times 4 is 24. 60 times 5, 6 times 5 is 30, so 300. 60 times 6, 6 6 are 36, so 360. 60 times 7, 7 6 are 42, 420. 60 times 8, 6 8s are 48, 480. 60 times 9, 9 times 6 is 54, 540. So let's see. Take 57, the divisor, 2569 is the number. How many times does 57 go into 2? That's easy. 0 times. Bring the 2 down. Bring the 5 down. The remainder is 2. How many times does 57 go into 25? 0. 57 times 0 is 0. When you subtract, you get a 25. Bring the 6 down. How many times does 57 go into 256? That's not an easy question to answer right away. But we know that 60, which is pretty close, goes 5 times, or rather, 5 times into, or let's see, 4 times into 256, because 60 times 4 is 240. So 57 should be pretty close. 57 times 4. 7 4s are 28. 5 4s are 20. 22. So 57 times 4 is 228. 8 plus 8 is 16. This becomes a 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. You get a 28. 289. How many times, bring the 9 down, and that's how you get a 289. How many times does 57 go into 289? So a question that you could ask is, how many times does 60 go into 289? 60 times 5 is 300, which is pretty close. Let's see what 57 times 5 is. 7 5s are 35, 5 5s are 25, plus 3, 28. It's 285. 57 times 5 is 285. That's the closest we can get to 289, and the remainder is 4. So 57 goes 45 times into 2,569, leaving a remainder of 4.